everyone, and welcome to another Take Flight interview, this time with a UNT alumna, Rosa Juarez. My name is Macy Merriweather. I am the graduate assistant here at UNT's Career Center for our internships area, and I'm really excited for this recording. So without further ado, Rosa, if you could introduce yourself and your roles, that'll get us started.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Macy. I'm excited to be here and to represent what I do in the hospitality industry, and also be able to spend some time and share that information with the students at UNT. So I work for Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group. I work at the hotel in Washington, D.C., and currently I'm a senior sales manager for the leisure industry as well as entertainment industry. So I work in the sales world, working with individual industry professionals, such as travel advisors, with both their just individual leisure clients that come to Washington, D.C., as well as entertainment. So I get to work with some really interesting people in the entertainment world.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Um, yeah, that's super cool. Could you kind of tell us about like a day in the life of working for this hotel group and kind of what skills you use on a daily basis?
Absolutely. So the great thing about the hospitality industry is that no 2 days are the same. So that's one of the things that I like about working in this industry. Even in a role like sales, where you would typically think about a day filled with meetings and emails and reporting and all of those things. Which you definitely have, and a day can be any number of different things for me. Some days I'm getting to the hotel at 7:45 in the morning to make sure that we have key packets ready to go for a band that's arriving after being on the road for 8 hours or even longer. Sometimes it means, sending off emails to try to secure new business for the hotel. Sometimes it means making sure that I'm coordinating with my colleagues in different departments. So skills that are needed for not only my role, but any role in hospitality, teamwork, communication skills. So working with other departments, working with people who may not report to you or, even share the same boss as you, but, getting together and making it happen for your client, for your guests, to make sure that their stay is flawless. That's really what we're there to do, to offer a personalized service. And the way that we do that is with communication. So every day is a little bit different. Some days it's, an all hands on deck type of day for the hotel as a whole, where everyone comes together and we're helping a single department, if it's banquets or housekeeping, clearing up a ballroom after a busy meeting, or even going into the rooms and helping housekeeping out. We're there to work together to get to that end result.
That's so much fun. This sounds like such an exciting job to me. I'm like kind of fangirling about like what you get to do a little bit. What things do you do that kind of aren't explicitly stated in your job description um, that you run into or that you kind of weren't expecting when you first took the job?
Yeah, so it's everything. Just like I said, it's those all hands on deck moments, but that's what makes your team stronger. That's what makes us stronger as a hotel, as a group, is, our pride for our brand as well for our hotel. Like I said, so that we have this amazing experience that we deliver to our guests every day. There's definitely a lot of things that I didn't anticipate. I live now in the Washington, D.C. area. So, for inauguration, we all had to come together, and we have, different amenities that we place in the guest rooms. So we work together to do that. We need all those hands to come together to make the work light. So we are, delivering chocolate plates of chocolates to guest rooms, and those are definitely things that I was not considering when I was thinking about my career. But it makes for great stories.
Oh my gosh, I'll bet you have like a ton of really fun stories.
A few, but we can't share.
True, true. I won't pry too hard. So could you kind of talk about your journey to obtaining this position? I know you're a UNT grad and kind of your journey from college, maybe before college, to where you are now and deciding what you wanted to do.
Yeah. So it goes back to my time at UNT. I arrived on campus not really knowing what I wanted to do with my future, with my career, or what degree I would want to pursue. So I was actually participating in the Walt Disney World College program that led me to this path. So I went my second semester of school, so still as a freshman, which horrified my mother because I had just started school and she said, "You're going to leave already?" And I said, "Yes, but this is going to be a great opportunity. I know it." And it really is, working for Disney, you just the training that you receive first and foremost, no matter what industry you go on to be in, it's unlike anything you'll find in any company. So you just learn a lot from being a part of that company. But I worked in a hotel and I worked in a quick service restaurant. And so I quickly realized that food and beverage was not the path for me, but I really liked being in a hotel. I really liked the atmosphere, the energy, the high paced, every day being different, the people that you get to work with, and that's what made me decide to come back and select my major in hospitality management. So from there, for UNT, we have to do an internship in our senior year. And so that was when I took my first step into my career path, was taking that internship with Rosewood Hotels in Dallas. And, it started very humble beginnings, in an internship. They didn't quite honestly have an internship program for me. So they started me out just answering telephones in the main hotel, what we call PBX, which is where all the calls come into the hotel. And so that gave me my first insight into learning about the different departments that are in the hotel, the different areas where you can work. And then from there, I kind of started my path, working in more of the guest facing areas. So the front desk, and then moving to reservations where you're on the phones, talking to people all day. And then when I moved to DC to take the opportunity to become a manager and work for Mandarin Oriental, that was the appeal for the job, was to be able to have this opportunity with a global hotel brand, luxury brand recognized. And then I moved over to sales. So it's that's the great thing about the hospitality industry, is that you can start in any number of places. It doesn't have to not everyone has the same path. You hear these great stories of people who started working as a bellman, and they, go on to grow and become, senior leadership roles. So that's the really great thing, is that if you have that dedication to the industry, a passion for the service that you're providing, you can really do a number of things.
That's so cool that there are so many different ways that you can kind of get to where you are. And I love your journey too, especially talking about the Disney College program. I have my best friend did 8 months with them in the Disney College program. She's in public health, and she has just such good experiences, and it's propelled her career just out of college as well. And so I also can vouch for that program. And I'm glad that you had such a good time too.
Yes, like I said, the training is great, and you can really apply it to any industry, especially if you're new to having a full-time job. As a college student, not everybody works, and so it really does throw you into that experience of what it's like to have a full-time job, and balance that with your everyday life. And then it's nice that you get to just create all these great, amazing friendships too. So
Oh yeah, it's super fun. And yeah, I highly suggest that for anyone, any
I
sort
agree.
of good internship, study abroad kind of thing. And especially through the Career Center, you can get that.
Exactly.
What advice do you have for students trying to find a job in your fields? Do you know of any professional organizations or student organizations on campus that they could get involved in on the student level?
Yes, I would highly recommend joining a student organization. I recently visited the hospitality management page for UNT, and I was excited to see that there are several organizations listed. I don't know if maybe my focus was just elsewhere while I was at school, maybe a little bit more having fun out at football games or something like that. But really, any organization that you can be a part of. Like I said, I saw that the hospitality school had some great ones listed. That would apply specifically to your field. But if you prefer to be in an organization that's more service oriented or even spirit oriented, I was president of Talons and bonfire committee chair. And that's a great experience because it's an experience that you can apply to when you're working in your industry. So again, it's in the hospitality industry, especially, the a focus is working as a team. That's a huge component to being successful in this industry. And also learning how to network and create relationships. And so, any organization that you join, you'll be able to do that. And I would also suggest taking on a leadership role. Being president of Talents helped me, in my very early days of my career, realizing that I could become a leader, that I did have it in me, to be able to lead a team, to manage a department. So if you can start doing that early, and that'll also help you to find out what area would be best for you. Maybe you don't like to have that guest facing role where you're interacting with someone, and where you're day in and day out you're talking to several different people. There's other jobs that you could do in the hospitality industry. So and it's very there's a lot of opportunities. But yes, being involved, especially in college, starting to grow that network, making those connections, is huge once you start to get into your career.
That's so true. And, I'm not very involved in hospitality. And so I definitely would have thought until you just said that all hospitality type careers are very like service oriented and like customer facing. And I know you just mentioned that they're not all like that. And so that's really cool to hear, especially for an introvert like me.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of different opportunities. So
That's awesome. So what has really helped you and something that you've had to kind of take away or take throughout your career, whether that be you mentioned networking, resume building, anything like that. What advice do you have for students on a more professional level as well?
yeah, I definitely think it's important, especially in your, as you're getting closer to graduation, to start thinking about how you're going to present yourself as a professional. And it's interesting now, especially for students now who have access to, these all these great resources, that weren't around back in my day, even though my day wasn't that long ago. um, even a site like LinkedIn, creating a profile now to start creating that network. Maybe there's a hospitality group that you're interested in, a brand that you're interested in. Start following their page on LinkedIn. You can review their job descriptions that they start posting and see what is it, if there's anything in there that attracts you to that, and if what you can start to do now to make yourself the right candidate for that job. And also LinkedIn will show you that you have connections through UNT. So if you have an alumni that is a part of that organization, it'll show you that. And you can connect with that person and maybe ask some questions and again, start to build that network. Networking is important no matter what industry you go to, but the hospitality industry, although it's a huge industry, is a very small world. So throughout your career, you will come across people who, even though you may have moved states or even moved countries, they know someone that you used to work with. So it's important to build those relationships early. So I would definitely encourage using resources like LinkedIn or something along those lines to start making those connections, and then of taking advantage of resources that you can have at UNT to help you not only with your interviewing skills, because no matter how far you go in your career, anytime you're seeking a promotion, anytime you're looking to transfer to a new role, you still have to go through that process. And so you still have to keep those skills sharp. So if you have those resources at UNT in the Career Center, I would definitely take advantage of those now. And then especially something like resume writing, it never goes away. You're always going to be updating your resume, especially as you continue to grow in your career. You know, it's important to keep track of those milestones that you can show to future employers, you know, that you have of what you've accomplished, and you know, how you would be a valuable asset to their teams.
Yeah, thanks for that. And it's I love that UNT has created all of these resources for their students. You know, especially just since I've been here, knowing that like the Career Center, for example, is available for students throughout their career, even after after they've left UNT, that they can always come back to our Career Center and use our resources, meet with our coaches, and get those interview practices and get that resume help. Um, I think a lot of students don't realize that. That's something I definitely didn't know until I started working here, and so yeah, I think it's really cool that UNT has these resources. So.
Yeah.
So how has the current climate and situation of the pandemic kind of affected hospitality as a whole?
Yeah, it's been a huge impact on the hospitality industry, and in many different ways. So, for example, I've been furloughed from my job since March of last year, which is not something that I ever imagined or thought would happen to me. So, you know, you rely back on those relationships, and you know, using tools like Instagram even to keep in contact with, you know, clients. And it's not even from a perspective of one day we'll work together, or you know, one day we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna need to rely on you to help me. It really is just on those relationships that you've built, and you have a genuine concern for, you know, these people that you've, you know, been able to develop these relationships with. And so that's become really important during this time. You know, I think a lot of us have understood that the importance of staying in communication with one another, friends and family, but also from a professional perspective as well. Um, and so far as the industry as a whole, you know, it's been tough. You know, people aren't able to, either aren't able to travel, or can't, or don't, are not comfortable traveling yet. And so we're seeing that change, and we're seeing the business come back. The industry is very resilient. The hospitality industry is very resilient. So it's great to see it coming back, and coming back stronger. And now that people are ready to get back to traveling, so you know, it really is just a game of being patient in some cases for that business to come back. But it's a very strong industry. So I'm confident that, you know, we'll continue to see more jobs coming back, and more people back to work.
Yeah, I love that that positivity at the end. I think we definitely need that reminder that, you know, especially with these vaccines coming out or that have been coming out, that, you know, things are starting to look up a little bit. So it's definitely important to keep that in mind.
Yes.
So for me, you've already busted a myth of mine in that um, it's all like customer facing, and that it's all that service oriented thing. And so, what are some other myths about your industry, or maybe even about your workplace or your position, that you've always wanted to bust? That people come up to you and say, "Oh, I bet you do this," and you're like, "No, I don't."
Yeah, no, there's a few, especially with this industry, because you know, a lot of people think of it as more just one dimensional, and that's the biggest myth of all. Is that it really is just has more to it than just working in hotels. You know, there's a lot of sides to the hospitality industry as a whole. So again, you know, you could be in one of those guest facing roles, concierge, front desk, food and beverage, any one of those. But then there's also, you still have a finance office. We still have a finance team, accounting, human resources. So again, it just opens up those career paths for you. So if you start out in one area, but let's say maybe you are interested in human resources or learning and development or something along those lines, those opportunities are there. Your hospitality skills are very transferable even onto other industries if one day you decide to take your career on a completely different path. And I think that's one thing that not a lot of people think about when they think about our industry, is that those skills are extremely, um, you know, important in any industry. Again, working as a team, and communication, presentation skills, all of that. You need that in anywhere you go. So I think that's the biggest myth, is that people think that once you're in this industry, that's where you are. That's what you'll do. But really, again, you can just kind of take your career on so many different paths, and even beyond hotels. If you wanted to go into airlines, cruise lines, or even if you wanted to be a travel advisor, and work on booking travel, you can do that as well. And then as far as my role for sales, it's funny, I had a presentation maybe over a year ago, and had to talk a little bit about what I do, and in this training class, and I did a play on what my boss thinks I do, what my friends think I do, if you remember seeing those memes, I guess. And it was funny because it's very true, especially for someone in sales like I am. There's these preconceived notions that we're out with clients, we're out wining and dining, and we travel a lot, which is true. I'm very fortunate in this role that I'm able to get out on the road and visit with clients and travel with my counterparts from our other hotels, which is one of my favorite parts. So there are times where we're spending a week in California visiting with clients, and telling them about our hotel and about our city and what's going on. But then again, like I said, there's times where I'm trying to figure out how to find a very specific brand of popcorn or a pillow for a high profile guest that's coming to stay in the hotel. So that's one of the biggest myths, is that there's for sales specifically, is that we just get to run around and do these great glamorous things, but it is a lot of work behind the scenes as well. And then meeting the demands of of our our sales goals, making sure that we're making those numbers. So that's another part of the job that you don't really initially think about, maybe when you're looking at going into the sales specific into a sales specific role.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And when I ask this question, that's the meme that I think about in my head that what my boss thinks I do, what my friends think I do, what I actually do. I love that meme. And I think it's so, like, I think the reason that it's so spread out throughout culture nowadays is because we all have these preconceived notions of people's jobs and everything. So
Mhm.
that's one of my favorite questions to ask people, is because they really get to talk about what they actually do. And oh, I spent hours yesterday searching for the perfect pillow that this person requested. And so yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's so true. It's absolutely true. There's just so many dimensions to any role in the hospitality industry. Like I said, any given day you're doing something completely different than the day before.
That definitely helps break any monotony.
Yeah.
So if it does, kind of, how does this job affect your lifestyle? I know you kind of mentioned maybe you've traveled, you've gotten to travel a lot, you've gotten to meet with potential clients and customers. So kind of, how does this job affect your lifestyle? And then how do you personally practice that kind of self-care aspect that's needed, especially in a hospitality-based career?
Yeah, so it's self-care is truly important. The hospitality industry is a 24/7, 365 day a year industry. So people are always traveling. And that includes holidays and weekends. And so I will say, for all the future graduates, even though you'll be a graduate, you will be working weekends, you will be working holidays, you will be working evenings. Even as a supervisor in my early days of my career, I was still working, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And, my days off were Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's an adjustment and it can be tough. So you definitely do have to find those silver linings. You have to find time for yourself, for your family. Right as I graduated college, my family recognized that I probably wasn't going to come home every single Christmas, so because you can't get every Christmas off. So you learn to make those adjustments. You learn to appreciate that on a Tuesday at you know 12 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're the only one off, you get the entire movie theater to yourself. So you find those things that to take care of yourself, to take care of your mental health, which is extremely important. And then the strains on your schedules when you step into a role like mine where I'm traveling and on the road, I make sure to take that extra time to set that alarm a little bit extra early, to get to the gym and get on the treadmill and just walk for 15 minutes or whatever it may be, or to get out of the hotel wherever we're staying and go for a walk and grab a coffee. Finding a way to make that time for yourself. It can be a challenge, but you definitely learn how to find ways to get it into your schedule. And I'm also fortunate that living in an area like Washington, D.C., there's a lot of options for you and, a lot of opportunities. So, you're not really constricted to, traditional hours. So you can still have a great life and experience lots of fun things outside of when you're not working.
Thank you for sharing that, and especially, kind of the ways that you practice that self-care, getting up, walking, getting a coffee, leaving the hotel that you're at. And I think it's so important, as you said, like everyone has to kind of figure out their own way around. And seeing examples from other people, I think, helps that a lot. And so this is our last question, and it's another one of my favorite questions to get to ask people because I kind of get to brag a little bit. But what is your favorite thing about your career?
My favorite thing about my career is that it is ultimately a really fun industry to be a part of. I mean, there's going to be tough days, that goes without saying, but that goes with any job that you're going to take. And the reward are the relationships that you build, the friends that you make. Working in the hospitality industry definitely has some really great perks. Depending on what hotel brand you end up working for. If you do go the hotel route, you get the opportunity to stay at these really great hotels. A lot of the hotels will offer really generous programs for their employees, either complimentary nights at your sister properties in different cities or discounted rates. So you get the opportunity to experience what it's like to be on that other side, and you get to be the one who's being catered to, and take those moments to really relax and enjoy it. So that's probably one of my favorite things. And for me specifically, working with entertainment clients, every now and then you get the opportunity to kind of see the other side of that. So seeing into those industries, being able to attend some really fun concerts, is also a lot of fun as well. So again, every day is different, and that's what I like about it. So if you're somebody who loves that fast paced energy, who doesn't want the same day every day, it's a great industry to be a part of.
Thank you so much for being here today and being a part of this recording, a part of this program. For all of our students watching, I do have a quick QR code. If you could go ahead and scan that, it'll just lead you to a really quick survey. We're just wanting your feedback on Take Flight and on these informational interviews, and maybe even suggesting some industries or some people that you'd like to see in the future, would really help out this program and in turn you as a student. So once again, Rosa, thank you so much for being here.